So, what we're looking at today is fractions. Yeah. So y'all already went through and answered the entrance ticket, and I think most of y'all did pretty well on this here. So for the first one, the large square shown below is divided by 64. So when we look at this here, we add up all the shaded squares and divide it by the whole. Now, if we look at this here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We could go through and count up and do ways to count it, but they did tell us there were 64. So this here is 8. This here is 6, 4, 2, 2, 2, which is exactly 10, 20, 4. So we're looking at 24 over 64, which is 3/8. Megan is making fruit salad and fruit smoothies. The salad recipe calls for 1/6 cup of strawberries, and the smoothie recipe calls for 2/3 cup of strawberries. Megan wants to make 2 fruit salads and 2 fruit smoothies. Well, so we can say that we're adding 1/6 plus 1/6 plus 2/3 plus 2/3. Well, we're saying 2/6 plus 4/3. And we could plug this into a calculator, or if we did it by hand, 10/6, which is 1 4/6, which reduces to 1 2/3. Or you could have plugged this into the calculator from the beginning and gotten straight to the answer. So of the 482 graduating seniors at Palmdale High School, approximately 5/8 are going to college, and approximately half of those going to college are going to an in-state school. Which of the following is the closest estimate for how many of the graduating seniors are going to an in-state school? So we could find 5/8 first. So we can do 482 times 5/8 first. 42 times 5/8. Or 1205 over 4. And then we can multiply that by. So we get approximately 150.625. And the one it's closest to is 150. Questions on this here? Yeah. And they use that a ton because for the longest time, the average family had 2.5 kids. What? Yeah. It makes no sense. Yeah. Now, when we look at the quick check, so the first thing we're looking at is fractions, because that's the main part of this thing. This lesson, a number that represents a part of a whole expressed as the division of 2 whole numbers by another. One whole number by another. The numerator is the top of the fraction. The denominator is the bottom of the fraction. Now reciprocals is really, we're flipping it. So 3's reciprocal is 1/3. 3/4 reciprocal is 4/3. Negative 11/7 reciprocal is negative 7/11. And when we say reciprocal, really the biggest thing is that their multiplication, their product is 1. So if we multiplied any of these together, we would get 1. Least common multiple. When we talk about least common multiple, we're looking for the smallest number that I can turn both numbers into. Smallest number we can turn both numbers into. So with 2 and 3, the first number that 2 and 3 we can make be the same is. With 4 and 6 it is. And 3 and 5, 15 it is. Well, 15. And when we do this, we're looking for the prime numbers, the prime factorization, and seeing which one has the most of each one and using that there. Least common multiple. For any given two numbers, the lowest number that has both factors, that has all the factors. Least common denominator. Least common denominator, so we're looking at the denominators to see what they're going to be the same. So the least common denominator for 3 and 2 is 6. Least common denominator for 4 and 5 is 20. So really we're looking at the least common multiple, but for the bottom of the fraction. The only difference between LCM and LCD is that LCD is looking at the bottom of the fraction. Same thing, just bottoms of the fractions. The smallest denominator two fractions can share, found by calculating the least common multiple. Because we use the least common denominator to get them to be the same, so we can add or subtract them together. Greatest common factor, the biggest number that will go into both terms, or go into all the terms. And make them reduce. For any two numbers, the largest number that is divisible into both. Mixed numbers, because we have a whole number and a fraction. So 3.5, negative 7 and 5/12, 302 fifths. Mixed number, a number consisting of a whole number and a fraction. We've done all these so far, yes? Converting mixed numbers into improper fractions. So if we wanted to convert this to an improper fraction, well, we can, one, multiply the whole number by the denominator. So 3 times 5 gives us 15. So really we're saying we have 15 fifths plus 3 fifths. Or sorry, 2 fifths. We would add them together and get 17 fifths, which is our mixed fraction. So you can rewrite, so you can write it as a mixed number, 3 and 2 fifths, or you can write it as an improper fraction, 17 fifths. Questions on any of this here so far? Least common multiple. So if you don't have a graphing calculator, go ahead and grab one. Because we'll spend the next little bit with this here. So the first one we're looking for So here we're looking for the least common multiple of 3 and 5. Yes? Now we can go through and do this here. This one's not too bad. But in the graphing calculator, this is kind of nice to know. If you hit the math button, the one that says math, and go over 1, so number, so math and over to number. If you notice what's at the bottom of that list, LCM, least common multiple, and greatest common factor. So we can scroll down to least common multiple and hit enter. So our two numbers were 3, 5. Of the 7 and below sign. And hit enter. So the least common multiple of 3 and 5 is 15. Least common multiple is 15. So the last one we could multiply them together. If we did that for this here, 4 times 6 is 24. Well, we can do the same thing. We can type it in, and we get 12. So you go up, you have it highlighted, hit enter. I do not know. So 12, let's look at the next one. So 10 and 12. Questions on this so far? How about 5 and 8? Two, 5, and 7. 2, 5, and 7. So it doesn't like that, but say I do 2, bless you, 2 and 5. What's the least common multiple between 2 and 5? Okay. So now we can come up and do it again and say 10, comma 7, which is? So we can do, because we have another one, 3, 6, and 22. So we have 3 numbers, and the calculator will only do 2 at a time. 3, 6, and 22. So the first one we could do is 3, comma 6. So when we have 3 or more, we can do 2 of them, figure out what that least common multiple is, and then do the other one as well. 66. So looking at this here, what do you think the least common multiple between 4 and 12 is? 12. So really we're looking at, because the smallest number I can make both 4 and 12 into is 12 itself, which will give us a least common multiple of 60. Fraction operations. So when we talk about fraction operations, we need to add these two together, yes?
Yeah.
So first step, so I'd watch this. So we need to get the least common denominator and convert the fractions here so we can make them both into 6. Then we can add the numerators together and we're done. What would happen if I typed this straight into a calculator?
You would get 69 over 56. What?
I would double check that.
Oh, I was doing this one.
So we had 5, 6. Because we could do this here, but again, ACT is all about saving time. If we can do it faster some way else, some other way, we want to do that. So for these here, We don't have to do that because if we did 2/5 minus 1/8, we could type it into the calculator 2/5 minus 1/8. And for these here, I wouldn't necessarily use the graphing calculator for it. You can.
11 over 40.
Because with the graphing calculator, we've got to go alpha y equals enter and do the first one minus alpha y equals enter. And the yellow calculator, it's one button to get fractions. You hit the one button, do the fraction minus.
Since you don't mind, they had a calculator on there and everything, and it had sign.
Yep. So this one here, you can type this straight in. We don't have to do this by hand. And you're probably noticing the yellow calculators, there's a lot of stuff that they can do that's very nice and very easy to work with. Yep.
It is 205. Well, I cannot 113 over 1/8.
7/9 plus 1/4 minus 2/5.
Oh, what did I do wrong?
You're Quincy.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Obviously.
Oh, I didn't. I added that.
Questions on this here? We have questions on adding and subtracting fractions.
No, sir. I feel like this is second grade stuff, but
Yep.
that grade I don't understand.
So here we can add these together. Now we have it as a improper fraction or mixed number. We can have it in either form. 3/8 plus 6/7.
69 over 56.
So here, 3/8 plus 6/7. So we have this here, 69 over 56. So I'll show you this here, guys. Alpha y equals is where we normally go to get a fraction, yes? Now, a lot of times we go alpha y equals enter. We don't even look at what the chart says. But if you notice the third one down here, ND, arrows, UND. This is going from improper fraction to mixed number. So if we hit enter, enter, it'll convert it to a mixed number.
Whoa! How do you do that again?
Alpha y equals, the third one. The yellow calculators, if you notice that they have the button that's 10x to the n, if you notice what's written above it, is the exact same symbols.
Oh.
So you can do second that, or the arrows on the yellow calculator will do the same thing. It'll convert between the two. So we have these two here. Questions on any of this so far? So we good with addition, subtraction? Now, this one here, we can do improper fractions. So 3 and 5/6 and 1 2/3. So on the graphing calculator, alpha y equals, if we do the second one down instead of the first, so 3 and 5/6 plus 1 2/3. So we can do the same thing. Alpha y equals, go down 1. 1 and 2/3. Hit enter. So alpha y equals 3. 5.5. Yep. And this one here. So if you hit this. Yeah, it'll convert from decimal to fraction on some of them.
They just like this.
Questions on this here? I think we feel comfortable with all this here, yes? Division. Same exact thing. Type it in the calculator.
Yeah, I know. I was like, where's that at?
Type it in the calculator. 1/2 divided by 1/4.
Equals 2. Oh, we don't have what you have.
Yeah.
Equals 2.
Keep the first fraction, change and flip, and we get 2.
Okay, now type it in the calculator. I'm just tapping calculator.
And this is 3/5. 6/5. Yep.
I not done mark.
Nope, I can't get that in my head.
Well, that was.
Man, the board broke. Looks like no more work today. Yesterday after the ACC, I literally thought my brain was fried.
So,
I said,
ordering fractions. Ordering fractions and numbers. This is the last part of the lesson before the activity.
What? Is this where you just add them all later to the decimal?
Yes. So when we look at these here, so we're wanting to order these from smallest to biggest. So here are the first ones we have. So we want to go from smallest to biggest. Well, we can convert all of these here. So 1/3 is 0.3. Three. Four. Yeah, so we'll give a few out. And then last one. 3.
how do you make it a decimal on the yellow
Right here.
paper?
The 2 arrows above enter.
What about on this? 0.4285714.
So from smallest to biggest, which one of these decimals is the smallest?
0.2.
Yep, 0.2. So our smallest one is 1/5. And then
1/3. Then
4/13, then 1/3.
Yeah, I saw.
And then
Would it be 5/12?
5/12. And lastly, 3/7. So again, on this one here, we just convert it to decimals and then order from there. Because it's easier to order the decimal numbers than it is to order fractions. Because we have 0.75. So the next, so 4/11 is just 3/6 repeated. 5/8. And 1/9 is 1 repeated. The interesting thing with ninths is the decimal number for ninths is going to be whatever the numerator is repeated. So 1/9 is 0.1 repeated. 2/9 is 0.2 repeated. 3/9 is 1/3, so 0.3 repeated. 4/9 is 4 repeated. 5/9 is 5.
It's going from smallest to biggest.
But there is no 0.9 repeated. ninths. It only goes up to 8. So the smallest is, so we'd have 1/9. Mhm. 5/8, and lastly, 1/9, 1/6, 4/11, 5/8, and 3/4.
Oh my goodness.
So do we feel comfortable with these here?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll do the worksheet to